We're going to cover, very briefly, some aspects of Amazon Web Services. So, this is how we define cloud computing. And this is why it's important for many startups as well. These are the 5 key features of a true cloud computing platform and why it's so important for you. Elastic capacity means that you can provision capacity, being servers, being storage, in minutes, instead of waiting for days. And this is particularly useful when you have only 2 days to finish, right? Because on Saturday, if you need to launch a few servers, you can do it on Amazon Web Services. You can launch them, they're there after like 3 minutes. And you can start using them. So you can start installing whatever you want, coding your things, and run it there. Faster time to market because you don't have to worry about the infrastructure. You can just develop your idea. I guess that most of you will have some software development as well, and then deploy it to Amazon Web Services. There's no capex, no investment. I think I shouldn't be saying this, but I think that we're going to give you credits that are. Am I right? Yes. Okay. Good. I didn't remember if we agreed on this. And these credits should be enough for you for the weekend to run maybe a couple of machines and some storage, etc., and for a few extra days as well. So that should be enough for you to pay. Please accept my suggestion. The suggestion is, if you are a technical person and you think that you will work on technical stuff during the weekend, let's say you're a Ruby developer, a mobile developer, PHP, Python, whatever, it will be great if you can activate your Amazon Web Services account before the weekend. Because then you don't have to waste time in activating the account during the weekend. I know that this sounds like, oh, this guy is trying to convince us to use, no, I'm not. We are going to give you credits. After this, you are free to cancel everything if you don't like it, or keep it if you like it. I just want you to have a nice experience during that weekend. And if you sign up, sometimes it takes 1-2 hours to validate your credit card and phone number. So if you do it before the weekend, when you are at the weekend, at the event, you can start using things without any delay. So my suggestion would be sign up. And you pay as you go. You pay only for what you use. If you use one server, you pay X cents per hour. Let's say 8.5 cents an hour. Which means if you use it for a couple of days, it's going to be $2-3 bucks. So it's very affordable. And this allows you to focus more on your business. You don't have to worry about the infrastructure. You can just focus on what you're doing. We have many regions. This one is dedicated to government agencies. All the other blue ones are open to everybody. There is one in Singapore as well. Inside every region, we have multiple data centers. We call them availability zones. And this is very good if you want to build a highly available application. In your case, it's probably not relevant for the weekend. But if you do a real business, for example, you can run servers here and here, synchronize them. And remember, there is always a single point of failure in any computer infrastructure. If you have multiple servers in different data centers, it's very unlikely that both data centers would experience any problem at the same time. So it will make your service very robust and highly available. We also have edge locations. It's essentially a way to distribute either pictures or static content or streaming videos to many more places worldwide. Not just the regions, but also additional edge locations. And this is essentially a way to speed up the delivery of your content. So this was enough for the technical part. Now we'll share with you a few success stories, hoping that this will give you ideas of how people are using cloud computing. The first one is called the Red Bus. It's an Indian travel agency. They specialize in bus travel, so they essentially sell bus tickets through their website or through partners. And they also sell a software that bus operators can use to sell their own tickets or manage their agents. This is a screenshot of their page. And it's interesting to know how this started. One of the founders was living in Bangalore, and every 2 weeks he will visit his parents in Hyderabad. And he went to buy a ticket, and the sales operator says, I don't have this ticket for this bus, but you can ask that guy. And he said, wait a minute, it's the same bus. The bus that leaves at, whatever, 3 p.m. Yes, but I don't have the ticket, he has it. So he went there, the guy didn't have it, he went to another one and finally found it. And then he thought, if there is a ticket available for that bus, why that operator doesn't have it and he has to refer me to someone else? So there is a gap here, there is a problem that I can solve. And then I can charge people for that, right? So there is a startup idea. So that's how it started. And the company is now very successful. They sold up to today 7.5 million tickets. They have more than 100 bus operators using their software. And they cover more than 10,000 routes in India alone. So very successful. And when they decided to move to Amazon Web Services, it's because their physical infrastructure in India wasn't really good enough. They were experiencing downtimes. It was very difficult. They were able to migrate their entire set of applications to AWS in 2.5 months, and just 3 people working on the project. And after that, the website is 4 times faster. They saved a lot of time, and they saved also a lot of money. Second example is another startup. This is a consulting business. They're not architects in this case, but they are, engineers. And they do these things. I can easily read them, but I don't know what they mean. So wind modeling, maybe you can guess it. Pedestrian wind models, maybe you can guess it. Pollutant dispersion modeling. Yeah, I have a sort of an idea how it works. So essentially they do very complicated stuff, okay? And they decided to use AWS because the cost of running this simulation is in the order of cents. Instead, if they wanted to buy the infrastructure to do this, they would need to pay $116,000 to buy 16 machines to run the simulations that they needed to run for their customers. Instead, by doing this, they pay a few dollars per hour, and they can do it whenever they want. This is another story called Filter Squad. Meet Stuart and Dave. Just to let you know, Dave was a marine biologist before becoming a coder and the founder of a very successful startup. So even if you are, for example, an architect, just to randomly pick some profession here, very randomly, it doesn't mean that you can succeed. Actually, quite the opposite, right? So they launched a series of apps, Discover Music. There's no typo here. That's how you spell the name, actually. Discover VR. Discover Music, then they launched Discover Apps, and then they launched Discover Movies. And these applications have been downloaded more than 1.5 million times worldwide. And they are the #1 app on the Apple Store in 50 countries in the world. So this is a super successful business. And the business is apps that find what you like. This one helps you find music. This one helps you find other apps, and this one helps you find movies. Pretty easy. Let me show you how Discover Apps works. You have your iPad or your iPhone. You tap on the one application. It will expand and give you suggestions of other applications. You can expand again. Boom, other applications. And then you can select one in particular, see the details, and then you can decide, of course, if you want to buy it, or if you want to read more about it, etc. And then you can go back and keep exploring. So the interface is super nice, as you can see. And it's very easy to just discover new things, right? You can keep expanding, etc. You can search for something specific. For example, here I can search for a game or something else and then find it. When they launched this one, in the first 4 days alone, they were able to get 250,000 downloads in 4 days. And luckily they were on Amazon Web Services, so they were able to be featured on TechCrunch. They became #1 in US and Japan, and the infrastructure was there. It worked. Not a glitch, not a problem. This is another startup. It's called Animoto. This beautiful, handsome guy here, it's actually me. And this is Stevie. I met him in Israel here in 2008. So Animoto is a very cool startup. This is the main web page. They essentially take your pictures, You can select some music or upload your music, and then they create a very nice video with your pictures in it, with transitions and effects based on the music. In April 2008, they launched a Facebook application. So try to imagine your friend Simone, because you're all friends of Simone, right? Your friend Simone comes back from a holiday in Bali. You know that he doesn't have a clue of how to edit a video, but he publishes this awesome, beautiful video with pictures of Bali. And you can see Simone like dancing in Bali, Simone having fun in Bali, and you ask yourself, I didn't know that Simone was such a good expert in doing video editing. And then at the end of it you see Animoto. And then you say, I think it's suspect. Let me click on Animoto, and then you realize that's how we did it. And then you sign up because you say, wait, I want to do the same thing with my pictures of my last holiday. So there was this viral effect. So they went from less than 80 servers on Amazon Web Services up to 3,500 servers in 3 days. This is a pretty amazing story. And actually 2 months later they got funded by Jeff Bezos himself. This is a graph that shows their usage of AWS, number of machines, and then peak. And you can see here that they kept scaling up and down, essentially adapting their compute capacity to their needs. And since you pay for what you use, here it makes a lot of sense to say, I don't need these many machines, let me go down a bit and pay less. And then, hey, I need more, let me go up again. And then, oh, I don't need this much, let me go down again, etc. And you can, of course, automate this, which is one of the key features of Amazon Web Services.